Good evening. It's Sunday, June 14th, and this is the last of the regular Sunday evening recap and introduction videos where we finish up week 7 and look ahead to week 8. And this week we're not introducing that much new, are we? If you've already looked in here. And last week we went over probably one of the more important things that you're ever going to go over in strategy and in planning and in dealing with decision-making models and everything. And last week we really concentrated on the idea of the stakeholder. And the stakeholder, as I explained last week, is anyone who's got a material interest in it that's affected by your business. You know, what you do is it's not only what's done in your own business or in your own operation, it's how does it affect all the relationships around you. You know, the week before we looked at forms of organization like horizontal and vertical integration. Well, stakeholder interests are there. We talk frequently, if you look through the Baldrige principles, they're just full of stakeholder references when you talk about valuing employees and societal responsibility, and visionary leadership certainly has got to encompass the idea of looking into stakeholders and what does the success of your organization mean to the community, to your employees, to their families, to the economy, even if you're a large enough enterprise. So those are very important concepts. And in this week, the wrap-up week, what we're trying to do is go into one very important practice for all of you. And that is this whole idea of self-examination. And we're not trying to be psychoanalysts or anything like that. We're trying to be business analysts. And the idea of the self-examination process is who else knows your operation or your capabilities better than you do? The answer is no one, all right? You know what you can do. You know what you have. You know what you need to do. Then you go through the process of figuring out how you're going to do that. It refers back to what I talked about earlier, being 4 questions. You know, what do you want? Why do you want it? Why don't you have it yet? And what are you willing to do to get it? And those are the elements of strategic plan in its most simple form, but they really, really are answered best by the organization or the individual who are building that plan for themselves or their group. And that's what we hope you to do here this week. So when you look into this week's material, we talk about self-reflection. And reflection has been a popular term now in the business literature and in the academic literature. And I think too many people have sort of a fuzzy view of it, where they think, you know, reflection is putting your hand back and sitting back and saying, well, what did I do here, and things like that. It's much more than that. It's really deeply looking into your decision processes and what do you do. It's not just a touchy-feely exercise, but it's bringing everything together, all your thoughts, and what does this mean to me? What has it meant to me or my organization? What does it mean to us tomorrow? What does it mean to us in reaching our vision and mission? Okay, so that's what you need to be looking at. So there are several forms that you're going to work on this week. Part of it is in your group project, right? You're going to be presenting your group project at the end of the week in the form of an executive summary and a PowerPoint presentation, culminating all the work that you've been doing in your groups. And I'm pleased to say that finally the group activity has picked up. And I certainly I have some high expectations of what that group process was to be, and hopefully those will be met, and hopefully those will be exceeded. Okay, and then also to look back at yourself as to what have you accomplished in your business education, what have you accomplished in this course, what has this course accomplished for you. And we really ask you to put a lot of thought into that. So we've provided you a couple examples, not the least of which are the accreditation documents produced by the university in 2 major accreditation efforts in the last 2 years. Those are all self-studies. And what the common practice in accreditation these days is that the institution does a self-study, and then the accrediting body actually takes that as the basis for their examination and says, okay, what do we have here? This is what you say you do. This is what you say you're going to do. Let us as independent analysts come in and see, A, if you are doing it, and B, if you have the capability, the will, the plan, and the resources to do what you say you're going to do in the future. And it's a very, very powerful tool, and it's worked well for us. And I've seen it work well for many, many organizations. So that's where we're going with it. The group projects, like I said, I hope that they finally picked up, and it was a little frustrating. And for my own purposes, I'm going to be doing a lot of self-examination, self-reflection on this course. As I said right in the beginning, this was the first time we tried it in this format, and it was a little different. I've seen things we could have done better. I've seen things that need some fine-tuning. I've seen some things that actually need some overhauls. And so I really will appreciate your honesty as you do these reflections and commentaries. This is not an easy course. It was not intended to be easy. It was a lot of work for a lot of people. And I hope you got the benefit that we wanted, which was to allow you to put together in one project, in a simulated environment of solving a business problem, all of the things that you've been studying throughout your undergraduate business education up to this point. And we're trying to put together the best vehicle possible for doing that. In order to do that, you experiment. You think what you have, what is good, you take what you learn from that experience, you change it, and you go on and you better it, and you practice continuous improvement. So this is one of the first stages on what I think is going to be the journey to making this absolutely the best business course we can. And I really want to thank you for your patience and participation as we begin that journey right here with this section in this mod. So that's very important to us. This does not preclude the fact that I may actually put something together and talk to you again later in the week, depending on time availability and need. But if that doesn't happen, thank you everyone for your participation. Thank you for your patience with me. Thank you for your patience with the essentially being a late stage in course development, and for being part of a new experience. Hopefully you got benefit out of it. Hopefully we achieved together the outcomes that we expected to, and that you'll come away saying that this was a profitable and a good experience for you. Maybe not even a good experience, a really good experience as you wind up your undergraduate business education. Okay? Thank you all one more time. And as usual, if you have any questions as this course draws to a close, please don't hesitate to ask me. Okay? Thank you very much.